What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 21 CD podcast, where we ask the hard questions, discuss the dystopian, and develop alternative theories. I'm your host, John. Whether or not you're here for the first time, I highly encourage you and beg of you to like, follow, and rate 5 stars wherever you are listening to this podcast. If you're on the YouTube, go ahead and give me a like. This helps me break into the algorithm, and Lord knows that's what I need right now. So we're trying to get it rolling here at 21 CD Podcast. Every single interaction is helpful. Every single one. Whether you're on the tube or you're on your favorite podcasting platform, whatever you do actually helps. And I think a lot of people they're hesitant to maybe give money to things right now, especially. It's hard out there, and looks like it's going to get harder. But for me, at this stage in the podcast, a little interaction is just as good as money. So even if you just want to drop your opinion in a comment or something like that, as long as you're not rude or something, that really helps me out. So one announcement that I have is, you saw Billy Bones back there just die. Yeah, he is a certified killer. I don't know what's going on. That guy absolutely drains batteries, even if he's not turned on. So, sorry. I'm trying to figure out a way to make Billy Bones... Oh, we're back. Yeah, he's got a mind of his own. I don't know. I picked him up a couple weeks ago, and he's a weird one, man. Sometimes I think he is sentient. I don't know what's going on with him, but sometimes he's awake, sometimes he's not. I'm trying to figure out a way to get him a more electronic life support instead of battery, because he doesn't seem to like the batteries very much. But okay, so let's talk about some current times before I get into this stuff here. Israel's crazy right now, guys, and I'm not the kind of guy who's just gonna be like, no, everything's great, don't worry about it, we'll be fine, because honestly, I just don't think that's true. So please make sure that you guys are prepared for anything. Have your go bags packed. If you've got a little money to spend on resources, whether it's ammo, fuel, food, water, whatever you need, please do that now. I do not want my brothers and sisters out there to be caught off guard, but I feel like things are happening. Things are happening, and they're going to keep happening, and we need to be prepared. Already there are ammunition factories in America mysteriously exploding, and ammunition is going to be going through a shortage again, just like it was during COVID, and we all know that this is by design. You have to make sure that you get ahead of the curve. I just got my own. Came in the mail right before I started this podcast. So do the same, please. If you haven't done it yet, if you've got a couple extra $100 that you can, even if you've got $100, $50 to throw towards the future, protecting your family, protecting yourself, anything that could help you in a situation where things might get bad, do it. We were given practice with COVID. You know, COVID was a sickness, but we were given a virus, but we were given practice with preparing for the unexpected. Consider those times and adjust for them, because they are coming back. Prepare for them again. And if they're not coming back with a virus, they're coming back with a war. This seems to be abundantly clear. But all that being said, make no mistake, the USA, we are them dogs, okay? We will be okay. Also, we've got Christ on our side, which is a huge bonus. So, don't be afraid. Be strong. Continue with your life plans. Don't let this hold you back in any way. Don't be too afraid that you can't live your life and enjoy your life. Because we them boys, and we ain't afraid of nothing. All right? Okay, let's get into the episode, because this is a long one this week. Yeah, I don't know what his deal is. I don't know why he's awake and then he's asleep, but he's just whatever. Billy Bones is just kind of crazy. Okay, if you're listening to the podcast, you're probably like, what is he talking about, Billy Bones? I have a mascot. My podcast partner is a skull, and he keeps waking up and going back to sleep again. If you want to see him, you can see him on YouTube in beautiful 4K. For all my tubers out here, they know what's good. All right, guys. So this one was requested. People wanted to hear about the Denver International Airport. So here we are, baby. We're talking about the Denver International Airport. We're going to do something fun today, right? The past few weeks has been crazy, and we've been talking about wild stuff. Let's do something fun today. The next 3 episodes are going to be pretty fun. I'll tell you that much. We're getting into some freaky, creepy, mysterious, fun stuff for the next couple weeks. So, get ready for that. But today, my children, we are talking the Denver International Airport. And I used to live in Denver. I lived in Denver for a long time. It was a good time. Not so much anymore with all those problems that they've got. But I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to Denver. So when I started reading about I've always heard the stories of the Denver International Airport. And of course, I've been to the airport and stuff like that. And I always just sort of didn't really give a whole lot of credit to all of the talk and everything. And I didn't really know why people were freaking out so much and stuff. And then I started doing this research, and I was like, man, some of this is kind of weird. Some of this is washed up, in my opinion. It doesn't seem like it's really that big of a deal, even after researching it. But some of it is weird. So, I think it's pretty hilarious how the Denver airport has an entire webpage dedicated just to refuting the conspiracy theories that it's involved in. And some of them they refute, but some of them they just mock and they laugh at, but they don't deny. The large underground baggage structures that lie walled off and theoretically vacant, being used as members of the elite. They don't even deny it. They just mock people who are saying it, and they put it on their webpage, and they're just like, ha ha ha, look at this. Yeah, of course it's down there, idiots. In their best Dwight Schrute voice. And that to me is kind of weird. That's kind of suspicious. And That's like that reverse psychology thing, like, which we'll get into. Like, they're not denying it, but they're not confirming it either. So basically, they're just confirming it. They also make fun of other things that they are planning to do, such as create a portal to the underworld, which I was just like, of course there's a portal involved. There's always a portal involved. They also compare conspiracy theories to concessions and say that basically everything is just for a more streamlined and interesting airport experience. Okay. You know, like, eventually it gets to the point where you're just like, what is it though? What's actually going on? Is it really just for me? Is it for me that you're doing all this? Just so I have a better airport experience, that you've got all this weird stuff? But people who don't know anything about the airport are like, what is he talking about? And here we go. We're going to have a little fun today and look at some of the weirder conspiracies revolving around the Denver International Airport. We're not going to go over all of them because I don't really like just regurgitating the same stuff as every other podcaster and YouTuber who's talked about this, because this is a favorite among conspiracy theorists. Some of this stuff you will probably have heard before if you've watched more than one video on the Denver airport, but maybe, just maybe, some of it you won't have heard before. And you know me, guys, like, I try to find one episode, or one, like, every episode I hope to find that one source that I haven't heard anybody else reference. And I think I found something crazy relating to the Denver airport as far as the source goes. And all my sources will be in the show notes, of course. But I found this book. And, like, I found it was really hard to find it. It was one of those searches where, like, I had to, I found it on Google. It was a free PDF. It was like a 200-page book. And it was written in 1996, I think. But it was one of those things, like, I was searching forever. And I just kept finding the same, like, crappy articles about the Denver airport that just say the same thing over and over in different words. Like, you find the same few conspiracies and the same details in every single article, and there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of articles like that. So, like, I went all the way to the bottom. Like, I pinged it and it was like, oh, there's like 400,000 results, and I was like, great. Like, I went all the way to the bottom, like all the way back. And I found this book buried in the recesses of my Google search results. And so that's my secret reference for the day. And I will, you'll hear about it. So the Denver International Airport, or the DIA, is the largest airport in the Western Hemisphere by land area, and the second largest airport on Earth. The largest is like somewhere else in the world, and I don't really care because we're not talking about that. But it essentially took 15 years to build, more or less, and was somehow $2 billion over budget, costing a whopping total of almost $5 billion for an airport. Nobody knows where exactly all of this money went. Because they kept rebuilding and then burying things they were building. That's right, not destroying, but just, like, walling them off. Like, they would build stuff underground and then, like, for, like, the baggage claims and stuff, and then they would essentially just wall it up and just be like, not good enough, not what we wanted, and then they'd build more. So, like, they would just stack these underground structures essentially on top of each other, or just keep adding to them in different ways until there's this huge tunnel complex under the DIA. And all of this resulted in them being $2 billion over budget. No, like I said, nobody knows exactly where all this money went, and some people speculate that there is a massive underground facility being used by aliens, lizard people, and or the global elite. Let's be honest, it's probably all the above. Oh, and also apparently an additional $4 billion renovation is undergoing as we speak. Like literally, this started last year. It is set to be finished sometime in 2028. So it's difficult to verify. I tried to find out. It's difficult to verify exactly what all is being renovated, but an additional $4 billion. So this is like a $10 billion airport. That seems crazy. Like, I don't know what the average airport costs, but I was looking up military bases and stuff, and a lot of the military bases that are super top secret and built underground and stuff don't even cost $10 billion. So it's like, what? Like, that's the first red flag for me. You know, that makes my violin squeal right there. So let's take a quick look at this article in the from the Denver Public Library. Of course, as always, I'm referring to notes, and they will be in the show notes. All the references will be. You can read them for yourself, and you can use them to go on your own adventures online. So the article says, the construction of the airport itself was rife with problems and setbacks, triggering an early onset of conspiratorial claims. One of the first was that the various problems with the design, the construction running wildly over budget, and even a badly timed metal workers' strike were all due to the fact that the facility was being built on an ancient Native American burial ground. So I looked into this because obviously, like, when it comes to burial grounds, it's a big thing. And apparently, the powers that be, DIA and all their cronies, says that there were no bones ever found. But according to my research, there was an expansive area, and there were many Native American, like, I guess, sites. So they found a bunch of artifacts, Native American artifacts, and evidence of little villages and stuff that they built this thing over. But the article goes on and it says, note that no tribe or Native organization has ever made claims to that effect, as would be expected if that were the case. Also, the archaeological evidence suggests that while the site may have been a hunting ground, there is no evidence of remains that one would expect in a burial ground. Okay, it's not just may. It's not just may be a hunting ground. And I'm not saying that you can't build where, like, a hunting ground was before. But no, like, they actually built over, like, village. Like, a village, at least one village, to cover. They covered it with this airport. And I don't know where people from the village were buried or whatever, but they unearthed thousands of artifacts, and they're even about to try to figure out how, like, what to do with them right now. So yeah, no, they built on native stuff, okay? Make no mistake. And, you know, that might have its own properties to you. You might be like, okay, well, it doesn't really matter if somebody's dead there from the past. Like, if they're burying over ancient lands that are sacred or something like that, somebody doesn't have to be dead on the land for the land to be sacred. We've seen this time and time again. While the airport itself is home to a staggering amount of far-fetched misinformation, there is also a great degree of speculation as to what lies beneath the surface. One claim is that, in addition to the known runways, there are also secret runways buried just below the surface, which extend for 4 or 5 miles each. When the time comes, whatever that time may be, they can quickly be uncovered so that massive planes carrying the satanic global elites can be landed safely, ensuring that they are quickly ushered to safety in the underground bunkers. Okay. So this article is, like, mocking that theory, and they even, like, put the little trademark symbol next to satanic global elites. And that to me is so freaking funny, because they're just like, Of course, there's no bad guys. Come on, what are we talking about here? But there are underground structures, and they are miles long. And the fact that these people are just kind of like, this article writer is just basically like, obviously they're not, there's no global elites. There are global elites. Like, what is the problem with believing global elites exist? They do. They exist everywhere. You watch them on TV all the time. Like, they're everywhere throughout the globe. And that's why they're called global elites, because they're elite people all around the globe. So, and, you know, a lot of them, yeah, they're satanic because they're evil. So I don't know why people have such a hard time believing that there are bad people like running the world. Open your eyes, like look around you. So like, why would it be so crazy that there's an airport out there, the second biggest in the world and the biggest in the USA? Why is it so weird that there might be underground runways? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make it, like, why would you even make fun of that? It doesn't, it makes sense. It sounds right. And if I was a global elite, I would absolutely want to make sure that in the situation where I needed to fly into an airport and be ushered immediately to safety, which we'll get to, I would want to make sure that the airport had a runway that would lead me straight to safety. And honestly, that's like not even that far-fetched. According to many unnamed, anonymous sources, there is a vast underground complex beneath DIA. A variety of conspiracy sites claim that much of the chaos and turmoil during the airport's construction was actually deliberately engineered. Yeah, like a money laundering scheme. This happens all the time. The claim goes that by constantly altering plans, changing contractors, and shuffling around construction crews, nobody would have a clear picture of what exactly was being built. Hey guys, have you ever heard of Ukraine? Because that's what's happening in Ukraine as we speak. So like, this is like not, I'm not hearing anything right now that I'm like, oh, that's not true. This is all like not only plausible, but likely. Like, this is even just from a regular like corruption level. Like, this doesn't have to be some huge conspiracy theory. Just like low level corruption. This sounds realistic. Well, nobody but the lizard people, of course, would know what's actually going on. This claim is somewhat undermined by the fact that they also like to frequently cite one anonymous whistleblower who claimed to have worked on a construction crew and therefore knew exactly what was being built. This brings us to those aforementioned underground bunkers. While it's true that there are a great many tunnels beneath the airport, there are. So you're just going to mention them. You're going to be like, yes, the airport does have tunnels underneath it, but there's nothing going on in those tunnels. They're just sitting there. No, my radar is going off. My BS radar is going off. My red flags are flapping. Like, if there's underground bunkers, there's something going on, period. The notion of what amounts to an underground city, as it is often described, is fanciful at best. And this reporter seems to be, he just knows. Like, this guy who wrote this for the Denver Public Library, he just knows. Like, no, I'm an expert on the matter. A facility the size of DIA requires a significant number of maintenance tunnels, not to mention the sheer amount of passenger baggage that needs to be routed throughout. It's therefore not surprising that there is a substantial facility beneath the terminals. However, despite what Mr. Anonymous claims, there is no evidence of a 6-story deep complex, complete with everything needed to keep a colony of elites alive and well through a manufactured apocalypse of their own design. Man, I hate the sarcasm from like news reporters and people who report on like Fringe. Why do you report on Fringe if your only goal is to make fun of it? Like, it just makes it seem like you're not having a good time. And I was taught to try to only do things that make you happy, and this doesn't seem like this guy's happy. You know, I wish I could just like meet him and shake his hand really, really hard, and then be like, "What's wrong? Like, why? What's wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you sad? Like." Because here's this guy, and he's just like talking. And this is a lot. This is almost every article on it. By the way, like this is not just this guy. This is almost every article on it. They're like making fun of the conspiracy theories while also admitting that there's some level of truth to them. So like, not everybody is saying that there is this underground complex filled with aliens and lizard people beneath DIA. But almost everybody is saying, but there is a vast underground complex beneath DIA. So it's like, you can't really say both. Like the alternative is that nothing is happening, or that they're being used to basically provide maintenance for the airport. But if you look at the blueprints and stuff for this airport, like there's actually a good amount of evidence that there are just walled off vast areas of unused airport grounds. Like there are structures beneath the ground that are not being used, that are walled off. And that is bizarre. You know, like it's not super crazy if you're like, I don't know, an engineer or something. I'm sure stuff like this happens. But when you put into perspective how important DIA is, the over budget, it was delayed by like a year and a half or something like that. When you put all that into perspective, and a lot more of what we're about to get to, it's not far-fetched to believe that there's something under the airport that we don't know about or aren't really allowed to know about. Another hypothesis which has been presented is that the underground facility would be used not for the survival of the insert secret society of your choosing, but rather to imprison the rebels who dared stand against the tyranny. Alternatively, some think it's what's known as a DUM, a deep underground military base. This theory, I use the word in the colloquial sense, not the scientific one. Look at this. Like I can't even like get through this article. This guy's so sarcastic. Says that there's a tunnel connecting the base to the NORAD facility at Cheyenne Mountain. For the record, the longest road tunnel in the world is a tunnel in Norway, a stunning engineering feat which measures in at around 15 miles, 6 times shorter than the imaginary 90-mile long tunnel that would blah 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 all the way to Cheyenne Mountain. All right, so we're going through this and we're seeing that this guy obviously doesn't believe there's anything going on under the airport, and that's just fine. Most people probably don't think there's something going on under the airport. They just know that there's something under the airport. They don't know what it is. It doesn't have to be aliens. It doesn't have to be anything, but it does seem bizarre that there's a lot of unused structure under the airport. That's what we're getting at. And this Cheyenne Mountain structure, we're going to talk a little bit about it because it's crazy. Like, let me tell you, that Cheyenne Mountain structure is that underground base is wild. And like when I was researching it, my mind was just like exploding because I was just like, how is this place real? Like, this is crazy. But yes, it is 90 miles away. So who knows if there's a tunnel going all the way there. Let's keep going. It makes sense to have an airport, especially one in Colorado that would have an extensive underground base for civilian elite. The reason that I am partial to this idea is because Colorado is literally filled with tunnels and underground complexes. Like if you drive through the Rockies, that is abundantly clear. They may like to tell us that some tunnel in Norway is the longest and that it's some type of engineering miracle, which I'm not saying it isn't, but as somebody who has actually lived in Colorado and seen a bunch of this stuff, I can confirm that the place is the perfect place to go for an apocalypse. Having such a bunker literally beneath the airport means whoever flies in and has a hall pass can literally be in the bunker in a matter of moments. Very critical for end of the world moments. I know most people are not surprised by Freemasons having their grubby little hands in building things, but it appears that they have also had their culty, satanic little fingers all over the DIA. So I'm going to get into my secret, my super secret source, my SSS, that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. And we're going to talk a little bit about this whistleblower. There's not just one anonymous whistleblower. A few people have come forth and been like, basically, yeah, we helped build this thing, and there's something crazy about it, and there's definitely stuff down there, and everybody should be kind of concerned. We don't know what it is, but there's something down there. So we're going to take a look at that whistleblower and what he told the writer of this book and what the writer of this book wrote, and we'll get a different sort of perspective into, sort of more of a first-hand perspective instead of like this weird reporter who's a nobody writing for the Denver Public Library about how nothing is going on. First, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Let's go. Let's take a look at the excerpt from this book called Pandora's Box 2, written by Alex Christopher, who was somehow connected to some very early whistleblowers involved in the construction of the airport. In this book, he says a lot of crazy stuff, but... and I want to reference more. Like, I almost made this a 2-part show, but I don't know. I'm going to do my best not to. Okay, so the book says, I would assume that there is much more to the airport than meets the eye. When the CIA is pushing something that hard, because yes, the CIA had hand in this, it has to be a front for something else. There are many rumors running around. One such is the statement that I was given by a member of the board that was doing research to oppose the airport. It was stated that the planners only planned for the airport to be used as an airport for 5 years. What then? No more airplanes coming into Denver? Or do they plan to move back to Stapleton Airport and use the new airport for a country club, or maybe for a global Masonic temple? For that is what it truly appears to be. No, I think that it literally goes much deeper than that. When I first went to the new airport, I was accompanied by an engineer who had been involved for many years working in the construction for the industrial defense complex building giant, deep underground bases. He told me that he had been offered the position of head engineer for the construction of the base that was to go under the new Denver International Airport back in the early 80s. He said that it covered an underground area of 85 square miles with a depth of 88 cubic miles. He said that it had in the complex a 4.5 square mile city, complete with stores and shops, and complete with hundreds of miles of underground roads, all connecting with the high-speed bullet trains that can go at Mach speeds. He also went on to tell me that most of these bases are now jointly occupied by humans and either ancient Earth races or alien races. According to him, those underground bases are to serve many different purposes, such as medical research labs, prisons, work camps, military accommodations, food storage, etc. If there truly is an 8-level deep underground base below DIA, as he said there is, during the last year after the airport was finished and just sitting there, were they really doing the final hookups between the surface base, DIA, and the underground base, as I was told? The next question you must ask yourself is, what are the real plans for DIA? According to the FEMA 4110 plan, it appears that Denver is the central location for collecting people and processing them into other areas of the world to be transported out from there by plane. I keep remembering reading somewhere that Hitler's concentration camps were also used to collect, hold, and have people transported by alien craft to the moon and Mars for slave labor, and then possibly return to Earth. We know the Holocaust... okay, well, I'm not going to read that part. Sorry, guys. We know that after the war, the American and German shadow governments, German I think is what he meant, the American and German shadow governments joined forces and have been working together ever since. Could the DIA be a very large human processing center for slave labor to go to other worlds or elsewhere on Earth? Are those tunnels under DIA with 4 concrete sides running adjacent to the tram lines that are covered up with sprinklers just what they are said to be, fire extinguishers? Or could that be a giant gas chamber or a decontamination chamber to get people ready to deport to other worlds? After making the trips underground that I have made, I feel my heart that without any question, this airport is far more than they are telling us. Just as the Great Hall at the airport where nothing is permanent, so too is the underground. Nothing is permanent. Not even the steel I-beams that support the steel mesh floors. They are bolted to the walls. It appears that everything down there is largely a dead baggage system that is not in use. They have a simple running baggage system there, and then all of this other equipment is just sitting there, taking up room, and it's lots of it. Acres. There are many catwalks in places, and there is an overrun of security cameras everywhere. There is a road system down there that what is a wide 2-lane highway. In some areas, it has an area next to it, fenced off with chain link fencing that would be perfect for holding cells if there was an occasion to need it for that. There are many huge areas where there are chain link fences installed. For what reason? I can't tell you. It is just there. I have been down as far as it is possible to go at this time without finding a secret door to go farther. I will tell you this. It is strange down there under the airport. The airport underground puts out a set of feelings and vibrations that make me sick to my stomach. My friend and I experienced the same feelings. I can't tell you if what I am picking up down there are things that are going on underground in this area at the time, or if I'm picking up on what has happened there in the future, which we have not arrived to yet. The one thing I'm sure of is that this place can produce no good. It is dripping with Nazi and Masonic symbols everywhere, either by accident or design. Okay, well, yes. So it is, yes. Okay, let's unpack this a little bit. The part I cut off there was this guy is one of those nutcases who believes that the Holocaust isn't real, and I'm just not going to read garbage like that. Obviously, the Holocaust was real, but that's fine. Just because one person believes one thing that's wrong doesn't mean everything they say is wrong. And if they're going out and doing investigative journalism and they discover whistleblowers and they're able to sort of like go down under the airport because they have made contact with somebody who can make that happen for them, like, we have to give them a little bit of credit. And like, I don't know about this whole shipping people to other planets to do slave labor thing. That seems weird, but everything else that he was saying kind of like aligns with what we already know. And the idea that there may have been a secret base underground already and they just built the airport on top of it to connect the 2 points, dude, that is legit. Like, I could totally see that. That is something that is not, like, these people who build stuff like this are intelligent, right? Like, they're not just a bunch of idiots. We see Biden up on the screen or whatever, and we're just like, these people are all idiots. But, like, there's other people that work for those idiots who are extremely smart and extremely tactical and get paid big bucks to make the smart decision that these lifelong politicians can't, because they're just politicians. They're puppets. But like, there are other people who are in charge of building things and like strategizing the safety of the country and the tactical means to keep everybody safe and to keep the USA on top. Like, there's all those people still in government, and nobody knows their names. They are ghosts out here. And yeah, I think it's extremely possible that there could have been a massive underground base. Colorado has underground bases. Like, it's known. It's fact. That's what Cheyenne Mountain is. Like, they have tunnels everywhere through the Rockies. So, of course that's a possibility. I don't know if they're using the airport to ship people off-world. I sure hope so. That would be sick. But, yeah, let's go on. The last thing you mentioned was that the place is dripping with Nazi and Masonic symbols everywhere. That is true. Like, that's true. I don't know why. Like, I don't know what happened to the USA, like, after they defeated the Germans and not the Germans, sorry. I'm German. Sorry to my fellow Germans out there for saying that. To the Nazis. I don't know why after the USA defeated the Nazis that they, like, adopted their stuff. You know? Like, taking scientists and whatnot, that's one thing. I'm down with that because you got, like I said, you got to stay on top, man. And if they are on top and you defeat them in battle, yeah, take their stuff, okay? But when you start like designing stuff after swastikas and putting Nazi symbology on stuff, and like, why are you doing that? But of course, that's part of these grubby little Masons and their whole little game that they play. They're all a bunch of they're so gimmicky, dude. Like, I hate these Mystery Babylon cults so much because they think they're so hardcore and so edgy, but they're just dumb. They're just stupid. And but yes, their symbology is all over the place. As a matter of fact, the Masons even gifted a capstone, which is like it's just a giant square stone, to the airport. It's like in the lobby or something. And under it is apparently a time capsule that isn't to be opened until 2094. And it has like the Freemason symbol and stuff like that. So kind of crazy. Like, I do wonder what's in that capsule. Like, 2094? Do we really think we're going to get there? Like, that is quite a ways. Let's see. If we go back to the airport's proximity to Cheyenne Mountain Complex, so we said that was 90 miles, and actually look at realistic reasons for it, I think there is some validation for that idea. Like, especially after everything we just read. Why is it so far-fetched that there could be tunnels going from Denver Airport to the mountain complex? Humans love tunnels, especially nefarious ones. Nefarious men love nefarious tunnels. And it's like 90 miles, but 90 miles is nothing for a bullet train, as we've already said. Colorado knows how to do tunnels. Even if it's just a singular tunnel for the quick transfer of a few important military personnel. It would not surprise me. So, like, if you fly in some people who need to get to Cheyenne Mountain, which I'm gonna, like, let's talk about it real quick. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex is a United States Space Force installation and defensive bunker located in unincorporated El Paso County, Colorado, next to the city of Colorado Springs. At the Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, which hosts the activities of several tenant units, also located in Colorado Springs is Peterson Space Force Base, where the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, and United States Northern Command, US Northcom, headquarters are located. A huge base. Like, this is probably one of the most important bases in America. Like, this is massive. The bunker's command center was upgraded during 2003 and 2004 for $13 million. Formerly the Center for the United States Space Command and NORAD, the complex monitored the airspace of Canada and the U.S. for missiles, space systems, and foreign aircraft through its worldwide early warning system. Since 2008, NORAD and the United States Space Command have been based at Peterson Space Force Base and the complex. redesigned as an Air Force station, is used for crew training and as backup command center if required. The military complex has included in the past many units of NORAD, U.S. Space Command, Aerospace Defense Command, ADCOM, Air Force Systems Command, Air Weather Service, and Federal Emergency Management, FEMA. The complex's communication center is also used by the nearby U.S. Civil Defense Warning Center. Some fun facts about it: the bunker is built to deflect a 30 megaton nuclear explosion as close as 1.2 miles. The complex has its own power plant, heating and cooling system, and water supply. The 21st Mission Support Group ensures that there is a 99.999% degree of reliability of its electricity, water, air conditioning, power, and other support systems. And it is located 2,000 feet underground. Like, dang. Okay, so like tell me that it's weird and fringe if maybe there's a tunnel going from the biggest airport in the world to this place underground for military, like high up military personnel, like generals and stuff, like maybe the president. Like, tell me that's crazy with a straight face, because that doesn't seem crazy to me. That seems pretty legit. Colorado, dude, is wild, and there's like mountains everywhere. This is a perfect place to hide your stuff. Like cowboys and natives and Spaniards and pretty much everybody's been hiding their stuff in Colorado since they found Colorado. So it's not weird to me that there's stuff underground in Colorado. And like, I know we're beating this dead horse over and over, but it's kind of like when the main thing is that there's stuff underground under the DIA and everybody's like, no, there's not. But like Colorado is filled with underground stuff. Legitimately, it's like you guys are stupid to deny that this is even a possibility. So yeah, I think there's something under the DIA. I'm like convinced there's something under the DIA, and I don't think they're shipping us to Mars or anything, but something is down there. Like, come on, dude, something's down there. All right, let's talk about some of the other stuff, the other weird stuff going on in the airport. Some of the stuff that you're probably like, why hasn't he mentioned this? Why hasn't he mentioned that? Well, I'm about to, baby. So here we go. On this capstone that I told you guys about that the Masons just gave to the airport for no reason, apparently. It doesn't mean anything, I guess. I don't know. Nobody really wants to act like it means anything. Like the Masons... Here, we'll get into it. On this capstone, the Masons mention this organization called the New World Airport Commission. And nobody knows what that is. So apparently, the New World Airport Commission, the NWAC, never existed. And indeed, the only place that I can find it mentioned is at the Denver Library. Relating to the Denver airport, it is documented that the Denver Library is in possession of 7 boxes, 3 oversized boxes, and 1 audiovisual box. I tried to get access to it, and I couldn't, even though they said that I could. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to investigate those myself, but the library does have them listed as open for research. So if anybody in Denver is itching to get to the bottom of this, head on over to the airport, the library, and just ask for it. See if you can get it, and send me pictures and stuff, because I want to know what's in those boxes. So what's the consensus then? What is the New World Airport Commission? I have a couple theories. Unfortunately, literally, like I said, nobody knows what this thing is. Nobody knows why the Masons mentioned them, and nobody knows what it is. So I have a few theories. It was a money laundering shell scheme. You know, like a shell company. It did what it had to do to get the airport built and did absolutely nothing else. After all, this airport, as we kind of already mentioned, was pushed through by the CIA and corrupt politicians under Clinton. So who knows what was really going on, and if this little company was just some shell company, and they used this fringe name to just have fun. I don't know. Probably. The government makes these shell companies for money laundering literally all the time. It would stun you how many fake companies are out there just to transfer money and do dirty money games for the government. B, the company doesn't exist yet, but will by the time the time capsule is opened. It may be a prediction or a plan for the future for the New World Order to open this New World Airport Commission where they will control all air traffic. That's possible. And then all of a sudden it all makes sense, right? Like now the capstone does make sense, and the plaque does make sense, and the name makes sense. It's something that might happen in the future. Maybe they're just sitting on it, waiting to make this organization come to fruition. My third theory is it means absolutely nothing and is merely a little stupid game that the Freemasons and the airport are playing to mess with people. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because half of what the Masons do is a stupid game. So that is very possible. But that's one of those big ones that people are just kind of like, oh, dude, the New World Airport Commission, like New World Order, New World Airport, like... Yes, I get it, okay? But there's a lot of, like, this New World Order stuff it's played up. I mean, it's real, but it's happening, and they're trying to make it happen. But, like, I feel like these people who really started making this New World Order stuff in the beginning, like these mystery Babylon cults and stuff, I don't know what happened, but it seemed like it got to a point where everybody was making fun of it. Like, this goes back to, like, the government using slow disclosure and reverse psychology and all that, like, propaganda to make you think that something is funny and mockable, but it's not. It's real, and it's happening, and it's bad. And that is definitely one of these things. I say it's played up because people don't buy into that anymore. But it is real. You know, like, I don't want to be one of those guys who's like, anytime I hear the word new and world in the same sentence, I freak out. But, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe New World Airport Commission, possibly. That's a weird name to give something, especially if you're a Freemason. But screw the Freemasons and all their little gimmicky games, and it might just be a game. It might just be them messing around. Like, it's almost like all these rich, corrupt people had fun building this airport. And so, like, if the Masons had a hand in that, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. All right, so let's talk about Blucifer, right? The demonic red eye glowing horse statue. That's at the entrance of DIA. Have you guys seen that thing? I've seen it with my own eyes, and it is pretty crazy. It's like this gigantic 30-something foot tall, like, Mustang statue, and it's blue, and it's, like, veiny, and it's like, it looks like a horse of the apocalypse, and a lot of people think that it represents that, and it has eyes that glow red at night. It's pretty stunning, honestly. You can see it from a while away, too, like a ways away. It's because it's kind of flat around the airport, so you could see it and from a distance. According to the Colorado Public Radio, Luis Jimenez died in 2006 at age 65 after a part of the Mustang came loose while he was working on it. It severed an artery in his leg, and he bled to death. So this is the guy who was making the airport, or the horse for the airport. Like, literally, this thing fell on him and killed him. So, obviously, conspiracy theorists, attached themselves to that, and rightfully so. Like, that is weird. Especially since his son finished it, and that's how it ended up being finished and given to the airport. There are 3 main sections that make up the massive sculpture: the head, torso, and hindquarter. And shortly before his passing, the artist had declared the head section done. So, his son, essentially. A lot of people say that it's representative of, like, the apocalypse, like it's one of the horses from the the four horsemen and stuff like that. And maybe Coloradans talk about it a lot, especially big Coloradans like politicians and stuff, and they're just like, it's just super Colorado, we love our horses, like they've got the Denver Broncos and like stuff like that. But it is weird, right? Like, why is that super scary zombie horse out in front of the airport? And the airport kind of says, like, it's to protect the passengers as they come through the airport. What the heck are you talking about? I don't need that. I don't need that thing protecting me. So there's also this weird, like, campaign that the airport does where they put up billboards and signs featuring alien and other conspiracy theories as if to poke fun at the people who believe in them by using reverse psychology. It's extremely bizarre to me that instead of offering any sort of explanation for the symbology, the weird paintings we're about to talk about, the underground complexes, the mysterious past, and the time capsule from the Freemasons, the $1 billion of over budget, the massive delays, the zombie horse, instead of like providing any explanation for any of this, they just mock the conspiracy theorists in these billboards, posters, the signage, and web pages all over the airport and online. And like, it feels like, yes, this is some sort of reverse psychology propaganda game that they're playing. And we know that the U.S. in particular specializes in that kind of stuff. If someone believes something is crazy and true, make them look crazy and weird. And this airport, it does the same exact thing as the U.S. government in that aspect. There's even a Mount Blanca tile in the floor at the airport. And Mount Blanca is where the Knights Templar historically met to form the New World Order. Super weird, but aligns with Freemason gimmickry. This is not so surprising because the entire place is filled with Freemason and Mystery Babylon cult symbology. The entire thing used to actually be in the entire thing used to be in the shape of a swastika until several of the runways were extended to make it seem a bit lopsided, but it's still kind of in the shape of a swastika. And personally, I don't know what that really means. Maybe nothing, right? Like, but this is kind of like what we talked about before. It's weird to do that. But all the Mystery Babylon symbology, regardless of whatever it means, it is bizarre. So the airport explains that is just the most strategic way to position the airport so that they can maximize the potential of the space that they have, or something like that. Like, it's their explanation is basically like, it just works, okay? It just works, and it just happens to be in the shape of a swastika. Never mind the fact that no other airport is in the shape of a swastika, but whatever. So let's talk about these weird paintings. Oh man, these paintings are so weird. And they're probably, besides the horse, maybe they're the most famous thing about the airport. You guys have probably been waiting to hear about these, right? Like, they're basically as famous as Blucifer. And I saved them for last because I think they're embarrassing and, like a lot of Freemason stuff, kind of gimmicky and weird. But I can also see their importance, and I might be being too harsh just because of my hatred for Mystery Babylon cults and Freemasons. But let's go over them. I'm reading this General Overlook article, again, that I found in Denver Library. So it goes, perhaps the most widely known clue to the airport's evil agenda, aside from the blue horse, of course, was Leo Tanguma's 3-paneled mural titled Children of the World Dream of Peace. The painting, particularly the first panel, contains within it some disturbing imagery which has, unsurprisingly, stoked the imaginations of a great many people. There are many claims that it foretells the one world government, a fascistic future in which the New World Order, or the Illuminati or the reptilians, etc., has wiped out most of the population and ruthlessly rules over what's left of humanity with an iron fist. The first panel represents the horrors of war, with grieving parental figures, bombed out buildings, and children sleeping in rubble. The dominant central figure is a faceless soldier impaling a dove, representing peace, on the point of their sword. This is without a doubt the panel that is most frequently cited for its sinister overtones, and often the remaining panels are not even mentioned or shown. The second panel depicts impending disasters brought on by climate change. Dead animals are dotted throughout the painting. On either side, the bodies of a woman and a child lie in coffins, illustrating that humans are not immune from the impact of the changing ecosystem. Children of various ethnicities look on with expressions of shock, horror, and dismay, while behind them a forest burns. The final central panel is a scene of hope and optimism for the future. In it, people of all races and nationalities are seen embracing each other, smiling happily and singing. Weapons of war are bundled in nationalistic flags, with children bearing them forward to be beaten into plowshares. A broken statue of the soldier from the first panel lies buried and forgotten. Put together, the mural implies humanity moving past its aggressive tendencies and defeating the ecological challenges that we face. Taken as a whole, the predominant theme is one of hope for the future. Nevertheless, it's hard to argue that much of the imagery isn't disturbing, even within the intended context. In 2018, as part of the preparation for a large-scale remodel, which we mentioned at the beginning, of the Jepsen terminal, Leo Tanguma's infamous murals were removed and put into storage. And people say also that some of these murals are still in storage. But I'll show you guys the photos. I'll put them up on the YouTube. You'll see them. And they are bizarre. They're weird. They're crazy and they're scary and they're weird. And I don't know how they just put this in an airport. This should be in like the Denver Art Museum or something. Why is it in the airport? It doesn't make any sense, especially when you put it in combination with all of these other things. And I am a bit of a philosopher, but I'm not going to go and rip apart these paintings and try to like find the symbology in all of them. You can do that yourself, and it's not hard to do. Like when you look at these paintings, if you go to my YouTube and you watch this video, you will see that they are strange and creepy and scary, and it's just like, what the heck am I looking at? Like, why am I about to get on an airplane and this is the last thing I see? Kids dead in a pile of rubble. That's not exactly going to put my mind at ease but like that's part of this whole thing for me. Like this whole thing, I'm just like, dude, are they just messing with people? Like, why is it so weird there? So I don't think that it is home for a lizard race or that aliens are kept underground there. I just don't. That does seem like too much of a risk, considering the massive amount of civilians that are above ground at all times. So unless this is some sort of hidden in like plain sight situation, pardon the pun, it doesn't seem realistic to me. It doesn't seem realistic that there's aliens underneath the DIA. I'm just gonna come out and say it. It doesn't seem like that. On the other hand, all the billboards and reverse psychology campaign is pretty insane and goes hand in hand with the government's tendencies for manipulation and propaganda. I just can't get it through my head why the airport chooses to do it this way, instead of just talking through why they do things. It's almost like they like the conspiracies. But why? It's not like you can just choose to visit the airport and see the sights. One doesn't really choose to visit the airport when flying. They just end up at the airport. So why is the airport built up like a communist Babylon cultist wet dream? And why doesn't the airport put travelers' minds at ease? It's very bizarre indeed. Is it a game? Are they just messing with people? Do they just like the publicity? Do they hope this makes travelers want to travel through DIA, therefore deepening their pockets? I don't know. Is it just one more like sight to see in Denver and they've just built it up in this super weird way? seems a bit far-fetched to me. Possible, but the way that they just make fun of conspiracy theorists and stuff like that, and the fact that there are underground structures, and the fact that there is Masonic symbology all over the place, and all of this stuff, it does feel like this is more than just a little game. So, oh man, my camera just... Sorry guys, my camera just cut out. Alright, we're going to wrap this party up. So, what's going on at the DIA? If there really is a sinister plan for the airport, I think we have yet to see its full scale. Personally, I believe it's a massive doomsday getaway for the powers that be, and because of that, it probably is equipped with a vast amount of government secrets. Maybe that includes weaponry, secrets of the spiritual or supernatural, and probably secrets of the country, whatever they need for the end of the world. Secrets that the elite will need after the world as we know it ends. It makes sense it's in the biggest airport in the country to me. And if it really is a doomsday complex, the weird doomsday symbology makes sense too. Rich, evil people love art. And they just love obscure art, and they love showing it to people. They love thinking they know things that others don't, and they love showcasing evidence of this supposed knowledge in the art they have throughout history. This is common knowledge, and with all the Nazi symbology, you know, Nazis were big into art too. Like, it's just this weird, like, thing that they like, and I mean, we all like art, right? But, like, rich people love weird art in a weird way. The airport is a historically accurate representation of rich people showcasing their weird, untouchable tastes and knowledge, in my opinion. They're flaunting it. They've got gargoyles and apocalypse horses and the symbology and the paintings all right in front of all these regular people who probably don't want to be anywhere near an airport. All the while, a massive doomsday cult complex lies just beneath the surface, and when these people fly into the airport at the end of the world, they could just really quickly be rushed down into this underground complex to safety. That is what I believe it's all about. That, if I had to just put a pin on it, I would pin it to the wall saying this is a doomsday complex for the elite. I don't think there's aliens. I don't think there's monsters or portals to other planets down there. Maybe portals, though. Maybe portals. But I don't think there's aliens down there. None of that kind of stuff. I do think it's possible there's a bullet train tunnel that goes to Cheyenne Mountain. And at a minimum, all that stuff is weird as heck. The paintings, all the stuff that you can see as a regular person. But it's, to me, it aligns so much with these mystery Babylon cults, and so yeah, I think it's 100% positive, for sure, I should say, that there's something down there for the elite at the end of the world. That's my wrap, my guys and girls. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's going on down there, and I don't think it's that weird to believe in that kind of stuff. Like, especially at DIA, especially because of everything else that goes on in Colorado. And yeah, so there you go. Listen, guys, I hope you liked this episode. It's a little bit longer, minute and 10 so far, or hour and 10 so far. It's, you know, it was a fun episode, and I've got more fun ones coming in the next couple weeks. We're gonna get to some really juicy stuff. So I'm going to let you guys go here. Sorry for that one little hiccup there where my camera just shut off. But once I start talking, dude, I have had some crazy stuff. I didn't even tell you guys what's going on in my life. I've had some weird stuff happen to me since in the past couple weeks, since I started talking about some specific topics. I have had some weird stuff happening to me. So, like, if I drop off the planet, if I just disappear and you guys are like, whatever happened to the 21 CD podcast? Dude, they got me. That's what happened to the 21 CD podcast. Like, I had some guy following me in the grocery store the other day in like a suit. So I'm not like, my gear messes up when I talk about certain things. Like I can't. You know what? We're gonna leave it at that. Don't drink the water. Question everything. See you later, guys.